Yes. Whoops. No, I did not. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about it. I didn't do them yesterday because I didn't have time. And then today I just had forgotten that I had them. So they will be back on Monday. I'm so sorry. Yeah. Okay, we have, at the top of the page, we were looking at a bucket of electrons, which is a coulomb. And each bucket of electrons contains 1.5 joules of energy. Okay, and it gives off all of that energy in the light bulb. And so by the time it gets to the bottom, it has no energy left. Very similar to that would be a situation where we have a bucket of water. And if it contains 1.5 joules of energy, then as it passes through this, water mill, it's going to make motion energy. That's how they used to grind wheat, is that that wheel would turn, and then they had a set of gears that would cause these two plates to grind against one another. One would turn and the other would turn. And so you would get motion, and you would get sound, and you would get heat coming out of it. And it would grind wheat to make flour. And by the time that water gets to the bottom, it contains 0 joules of energy. So it's a very similar process there. Here is another model of energy and charge. So we can imagine, now yours unfortunately are gray, not red. I really wish I could make yours in color. We have this red, or in your book, gray, aura sort of thing that represents the energy. The black dots represent the charge. Okay, so we have the energy here. You can see that red energy. And we have the black dots, each of which represent the charge. If we're looking at the units, the red energy is measured in joules, and coulombs is measured, charge is measured in coulombs. So voltage is measured in volts. Let's watch as 1 joule and 1 coulomb merge to become 1 joule per coulomb, or 1 volt. Here's our joule and our coulomb. Here they come together. Oh, look, they are merging. They're still merging. And now we have that charge, which is sort of the black part in the middle. That's our charge. And the red aura around it, about it, is the energy, the potential energy in that charge. So that is the potential energy, the joules, the potential energy in that charge, coulombs. And that is a volt. Okay, so here we have, you can see we have 1 coulomb of charge. There is our coulomb of charge in the center, that black part there. That's 1 coulomb, and it has attached to it 1 joule of energy. And that gives us 1 volt. So that is 1 joule per 1 coulomb. Now here, in our next picture, we still have 1 coulomb, right? The black part is still the same, 1 coulomb. But now we have 2 joules. So we have 2 joules per 1 coulomb, and that is 2 volts. So we can start to do a little bit of math with these. So if we have 3 coulombs of charge. You can see we have 1, 2, 3 coulombs of charge. And in total, they have 6 joules of energy. What would the voltage be? How many joules per coulomb would there be? So when we ask what the voltage is, that's how many joules. Let's make that look like an O and not a P. Per coulomb. Hopefully, most of you can see that that is going to be 6 joules per 3 coulombs, which is going to give you 2 joules per 1 coulomb, which is 2, what's the unit? Volts. Excellent. Okay. It kind of shows it here. You can see the 6 joules is being split up into 3 2-joule quantities, and each of those is then attached to a coulomb. So that is 2 joules per coulomb. So we can take this process that we did here and we can generalize it, and we get a new equation. And this equation is that voltage is equal to the energy over the charge. So V equals E over Q. E stands for energy, and Q stands for charge. And if you want to memorize this, we already have the I quit formula. Now we have, even though you're like, I quit, maybe you see the next question and you're like, oh, hang on, that's a very easy question. Maybe I shouldn't quit. Okay, so this is the very easy question formula. Very easy question. Voltage equals energy over charge. And now we're going to do our voltage questions, and guess what we're going to work with? We are going to work with Guess Cubs, because you just do these questions all the same every time and you will not go wrong. Okay? Given unknown equations, solve, substitute, calculate units, box, and finally check your units, perhaps check for sig figs. Oh, I forgot to put step 7 here, which is stop at a reasonable number of digits. And sig figs. Sig figs. Okay. Hi. Scissors. Just give me a second.
Thank you.
Okay, so here we have, on our next page, which will now be page 77, example number 1, if 3 coulombs of charge, so that is a given quantity there, 3 coulombs of charge, had 6 joules of energy, what would the voltage be? So let's write down our given quantity. The quantity is charge, which is Q. The quantity is energy, which is E. And our unknown quantity is voltage, V. So we are given the charge, Q, is equal to 3 coulombs. 3 coulombs. We're also given that the energy, E, is equal to 6 joules, 6J. And where did I put the unknown? Is it over here somewhere? What is wrong with me? Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's put our unknown here. Our unknown is the voltage, which is, we don't know how many volts. And our equation is a very easy question, because that's the one that involves the Q the E, and the V. Okay, and that is on your purple sheet. Alrighty? So we have Q, E, and V. Now we need to solve. Oh, except that V is on the top, it is by itself, and it is on the left. So we don't need to do anything. We are just going to substitute. And don't forget, when you substitute, you're substituting both the values and the units. Every number in science should have a unit. So we have V equals E over Q, which is equal to energy, which is joules. Whoops, not just joules, it's 6 joules. And Q is 3 coulombs. 3 coulombs. And we get 6 divided by 3 is 2 joules per coulomb. Or if we want to rewrite it, 2 volts. And that's our final answer. And that is a reasonable number of digits because it is a round number. It's a whole number answer. It is also correct sig figs because we just have 1 sig fig and we have 1 sig fig. Are we starting to feel pretty confident about doing guess cubs? Yeah? Okay. Let's try another one. Okay, so here we go. We have the voltage of a battery is 5 volts. So we have voltage is 5 volts. How much energy? So we don't know our energy. Will the battery deliver to 7.0 coulombs of charge? So coulombs is charge, which is Q. So let's start with our given quantities. Voltage. Remember, you're always going to have blank equals blank blank. Blank equals blank blank. We are given voltage equals 5.0 volts. I'll try to make that point look like a point. There we go. We have charge, Q, is equal to, and our number is 7.0, and our unit is coulombs. Our unknown, blank equals blank blank. How much energy? So E is equal to, we don't know how many because it's our unknown. What is the unit of energy? Joules. Okay, so that's going to be joules. Our equation. What equation will we use? Our very easy question. So V equals E over Q. Now remember, we need to solve for our unknown, and in this case, our unknown is E. So we're going to put V over top of 1, and we're going to move the Q, which direction? Diagonally. It's going to move up to the other side. So we're now going to have QV equals E. And then we want it on the left, so that's going to be E energy is equal to Q charge times V. voltage. So once we've got that, we can just substitute everything in. Q is 7 coulombs. So we have 7.0 coulombs, and we have 5.0 volts. Seven times 5 is 35. And what unit should we have for energy? Joules. Stop at a reasonable number of digits. 2 is reasonable. It's also the right number of sig figs because here we have 2 sig figs and here we have 2 sig figs, because when there is a decimal, zeros to the right of non-zero digits are significant. So we're going to put a box around that and we are done. Now, if you want the extra enriched stuff, instead of writing, we could have E equals QV, and we would still have 7.0 coulombs, but instead of writing volts, what could we write instead of volts? We could write 5.0 joules per coulomb. And in that case, you can actually see that because you have coulombs on the top and you have coulombs on the bottom, those cancel out. So if you want that extra enriched credit, you can show that work, which proves that your unit should indeed be joules. Okay, so that would be enriched, showing that bit there. For sure. Okay, one last example here. We have a 6-volt battery. So that is a given quantity, and that's going to be voltage. So under my given, I can write voltage equals number, 6.0, and unit, V. I'm also given 8.00 joules of energy. So we have energy, E, equals our number, 8.00 joules, J. What are we being asked about? How many coulombs of charge? Charge is Q. Whoa, what happened? There we go. Charge is Q. And that is, we don't know how many coulombs. Our equation is a very easy question. V equals E over Q. This time we need to solve it for our unknown, and in this case, the unknown is Q. So I need to make sure that Q is on the top. Is Q on the top? This is the place where most people go wrong. They won't put Q on the top. I'll show you what I very often see from people. All of a sudden they're like, okay, I need E. They go V over E is equal to Q. Why is that not correct? Don't write it down because it's not correct. But why is this here not correct? Q is, well, AQ is not on the left, but B, if I were to move E down here, that would leave nothing on the top. So we would have a 1 on the top, but the Q would still be on the bottom. And that's not what we want. So that's why step number 1 is always to make sure that whatever you're looking for is on the top. Step 1, make sure that your unknown is on the top. So up it goes. There we go. And we have Q times V is equal to E. And now we want Q by itself. So if I put these both over 1, I can say, oh, I had better move the V so it's no longer with the Q. And that's going to give us Q is equal to, and then I have E on the top, E over, and V has gone down below. We have solved. After solve comes substitute. And when you substitute, don't forget the units. And if you are doing sig figs, don't forget your point zeros. Okay, so for energy, it would be 8.00 joules. That tells us that we have 3 sig figs. And for voltage, we have 6.0 volts. Eight divided by 6 is 4/3. What the heck is that? There we go. $1.33333. So I get this. What did I just do? 1.3 repeater. Should I leave that repeating there? Do not leave repeaters in science. If you're not interested in sig figs, you would take this thing and you would stop at a reasonable number of digits. Remember, a reasonable number of digits is 2 to 4 digits. So you could choose 1.3. And your unit would be, the unit of charge is coulombs, 1.3 coulombs. Or you could say, I want 3 digits, because that's in the 2 to 4 digit range. You could say 1.33 coulombs. If you wanted to do sig figs, you have 2 sig figs here and 2 sig figs here. So you would want this answer here where you have 2 sig figs in your answer. Okay? Or if you wanted to, you could have 1.333 coulombs. That would also be fine. Okay? 2 to 4 digits. If you want the extra credit, Q equals E over V. We are going to write joules as, volts as joules per coulomb. So we have 8.00 joules over 6.0 joules per coulomb. We're going to do the math on the numbers, and that still gives us 1.3. And now we have joules divided by joules per coulomb. What's another way I can write joules over joule? Well, I've not left myself enough room. What's another way I can write joules over joules per coulomb? I can write it, remember when you divide by something, by a fraction, is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. This is fancy, so don't worry if you don't get it, okay? Lots of time for you to do this in grades 10, 11, 12, right? So this would be joules times, and we're going to write the reciprocal of the joules per coulomb. So we're going to write coulombs per joule. So now we have joules times coulombs per joule. And guess what cancels out? Joules, and we are just left with 1.3 coulombs. Like I said, that one's pretty tricky. If you get it, that's fantastic. If you don't, not the end of the world. And now you guys have some questions to do on pages. This is page 78 that we're on right now. So we have 78. We have 79. And we have 80. And we have 81. So lots of practice for you. If you get bored by some of that, and if you've been doing the unit conversions, if you did 6.2G unit conversions using conversion factors, you could also take a look at 6.2H rounding numbers. That's going to be an enriched thing, the rounding numbers. And dividing by fractions, I think if you know that, you know it. If not, you can take a look through here. So 6.2HI and J if you want. Okay, so that's the enriched stuff. If you get bored of doing 6.3b. So 6.3b. Is it 78? Yeah, 78.